deine Stimme lauter, Alter. Ich höre mich nicht.
Okay, this was 2 experiences that I had on the morning of December 30th. And, yeah, I was laying there in the bed. Let's see, I can't remember what time it was. Probably like 5 or 6. And so I was talking to Joel, and I do believe... Wait, hold on. Okay. Yeah, so I was talking to Joel, and I do believe that he gave me this experience, but it was very quick. And I think I was telling him I wanted like some long virtual reality experience, and then he gives me a very, very, very short one. So next time I guess I'll have to tell him I want a very, very short one, and then he'll give me a long one. But yeah, so I started to feel like my brain kind of like swirling around in little circles, like when they pull your consciousness out. Kind of felt like I did feel that sensation. And but I was wide awake. I was wide awake in the bed, except you know, my eyes were closed, and I started feeling some funny sensations after I started talking to Joel. And so anyway, next thing I know, I'm in this virtual reality setting. And it started off, I was walking down, it was enclosed, like a big hall, hallway where you walk to get into the theme park. And I don't know what the theme park was or anything, or what the name of it was. He didn't tell me that. And my sister and mom were like up ahead, and it seemed like there were a bunch of other people, but I'm not sure who they were. And and so I was like behind my sister, my mom, and a few other people. And it's kind of like, you know, like a Silver Dollar City, you like walk through the, you walk through some gift shops before you get to the outside theme park. It was like this situation. So I was walking through like this big, wide hallway or whatever, you know, to get, I don't even know if that's what it's called, but it was enclosed, to get to the theme park. For some reason, I hurried up and walked off to the right of me because I somehow knew there was this vacant office. It was a Saturday. And it was a Saturday, so the person that worked in that office, and maybe it was the office, you know, where people work, you know, for the, like a manager that works for the theme park. But yeah, but he was off, you know, because it was Saturday, so he was off that, you know, in the scenario, it was a weekend. It was Saturday. And I somehow knew he wasn't going to be in there. But I don't know who the guy was or anything. Joel didn't tell me that. So I went off into this big office. And it was pretty big. It had like tall, pretty high ceilings. And this, like I said, this experience was really quick. And as I was standing there, I was looking around, and I'm like, okay, how did I get this experience? Because I just thought it was funny how I still got the experience, because I knew I was having a hard time going to sleep, and I was wide awake in the bed, but with my eyes closed. But see, they know how to put you in that perfect, like, brainwave state. And sometimes I'll ask him, like, can you help me fall asleep and all that? So he helped me so he could nab me. And so I looked around, and I saw the office, the big desk. And of course he wasn't sitting in there because, you know, it was empty because it was the weekend and he was off work, this man. But I knew somehow it was a man's office. But he was off work. And he was the type of guy that left his clothes lingering around in his office, like over the weekend, like spare clothes or whatever. And I know he like took that from my brain somehow, from when I was in elementary school, and I noticed some of the coaches would leave their underwear and shit thrown in the bathroom locker, their bathroom locker, and within the locker room. So he probably took that from my brain. Well, anyway, I looked down at this awesome, what's that called? You know, clothing. It was a pair of shorts, but it wasn't like a cheap pair of shorts. What's that word? But anyway, it was top of the line, you know, clothing. And I looked down, and they're always doing that, putting like top of the line shit in my scenarios. And so I looked down at the shorts, and I was like, wow, I want those shorts. I somehow anyway, I somehow went into the office because I just wanted to snoop around, and I guess apparently I wanted to steal stuff, But it's not like Joel really gave me that idea or anything. He didn't relay, that idea that that's what I was doing, but it's like that's what I was doing, and that's why I wanted to go off in the office to try to snoop around because I knew nobody was in there. So I ended up still in the piece, the piece of shorts or the article of clothing. Like I didn't want, that's all I wanted was the shorts, and they were kind of like light burgundy color, and there was a blaze. Okay, there was a mirror over to as I was standing in the middle of the office. Like I say, there was the shorts laying there, and then over to my straight ahead, over to the left, depending on where I was standing, there was a mirror. And there was like a closet, and there was like a blazer that went with the shorts, which is kind of weird because normally you don't wear blazers with shorts, but they were they were color coded or whatever. They matched. It was also burgundy, so I knew it was a set and that it went together. But anyway, I wasn't interested in the blazer. I didn't want that. I just wanted the pair of shorts. And so anyway, but like I say, they were high-end clothing, you know what I'm saying? They weren't cheap-ass clothing, like very high-end, and they looked even very high-end. I don't know, the aliens are able to do that, make shit look very, very high-end, very expensive in my scenarios. So anyway, I tried on the pair of shorts, and I stood in front of that long mirror, that the guy had over on his wall, and I was like, okay, they fit. So anyway, so I ended up still in the shorts, but I don't actually remember walking out of the office or anything. And like I say, this was a virtual reality experience. Also, he made me kind of think some sexual thoughts. Joel did. That's why I know it was Joel that gave me this experience. But yeah, it was kind of weird because it was kind of sexual, but not normally how he gives me experiences. But like he made me think of some sexual thoughts and stuff. But yes, I'm editing a few parts out. But anyway. So yeah, so the shorts, I was just walking down, and I was supposed to go to the theme park with my sister and stuff, and I just like bam walked off into this office because somehow I just knew it was it was vacant, not vacant, but empty. I knew it was, I knew it wasn't. I knew nobody was in there because they were off work and all that, so I knew it was empty, so to speak. So I wanted to go in there and snoop around, and like I say, the worker or I guess he was an employee. Like I say, that would make sense. I guess he was an employee of the park, and maybe he was a manager and his job was a desk job, But Joel didn't tell me all that. Yeah, so anyway, I did steal the shorts, but I was not interested in the blazer. But yeah, as far as I remember, that was the only clothing that was in this scenario, but. And the shorts, like I say, the blazer was hanging up. The shorts, it seemed like they were just laying there either on the desk chair or the floor, but I can't remember. But they were like high-end clothing. And like I say, the aliens have ability to do that. I don't know how, but... So anyway, so yeah, but I tried them on, and they fit and everything. So that's why I knew, I wanted them. So anyway... Okay, that first experience was a virtual reality scenario. The second experience, but like I say, when I was standing there in it, I was like, okay, how the heck did I get this experience? Because, you can't just be completely awake and they throw you into experience. But anyway, he's got skills. He threw my brain into that perfect state with, when my eyes were closed and I felt all those sensations, and then boom, next thing I know, I was in that virtual reality scenario. Oh, by the way, the walls were like light blue, and the ceiling was pretty high. I can't remember the color of the ceiling. I think it was white, but the walls were like light blue. And okay, so and there may be a few parts that I'm forgetting too, like as far as what I saw on the desk or whatever, but that's irrelevant. Okay, so anyway, so the second experience that I had that morning on December 30th was at my grandma's house, and this was this freaking long, drawn-out, lucid dream. And I was in the living room of my grandma's house the whole time. Like, okay, in real life, the last time we went to my grandma's house about 3 weeks ago or whatever, in real life, the real estate agent was there. The last time we went into the house before the owner was about to buy it, before the owner was about to close on the house, me and Mom went in there one more time, and the real estate agent was there in real life. And she told us about the owner. The owner is 70 years old, woman. I didn't get the impression that she was married, but I knew that she was artistic, because the real estate agent said that she liked to do art and stuff. And she's a 70-year-old woman. And the funny thing is, my grandma was 70 years old when she moved into this house. And of course, she died at 92 and a half last December 25th. So the house sat, in real life for a year. And then finally, supposedly this 70-year-old woman is about to move in after Christmas. She told the real estate agent, she wanted a late closing and that she was going to move in not until after Christmas. So in real life, any day now, she should be moving in. So this whole scenario, the alien copied that from my brain. And I believe it was a gray that gave me this experience. Okay, so anyway, I was sitting in her living room the whole time. There was my brother, my sister, my mom, and the 70-year-old woman. She didn't look quite like this, but I couldn't find, I know exactly what she looks like, but she didn't look like that. I couldn't find a picture that looked like her, but yeah, I know the aliens copied from my brain from somebody similar. I know they did, because she looked kind of familiar. And who knows what the owner really does look like, but it's going to be funny when I see her, because I'm sure I'll see her because she lives really close, and I could go, driving by there and see her out in her yard or whatever. It'll be funny if she looks a lot like what she did in the scenario, but I don't know what she looks like in real life. And I don't know her personality or anything, but I know, I'll know if it'll match, from the scenario, what this woman's personality was like, that the aliens threw in my scenario. Okay, in the scenario, I don't think the woman in real life is married, but in the scenario, she was married, and she had a husband, and I only saw him like 2 times. She did have the husband, and he had white, gray hair. And he also, he looked about 75. And also, the daughter was living with them, and the daughter was like older, like 29 or 30 years old, and she seemed kind of LD, like she seemed kind of retarded, but not severely retarded. And I guess that's why she was living with, I guess that's why, she was living with them. But anyway, the whole entire scenario, I was sitting, and then I stood up a few times in the living room of my grandma's house. The whole dang time. I never did even go outside of the living room, but I did stand up a few times and walk around the living room. Okay, so anyway, this is what the deal was. So in the scenario, it was like the owner had invited us over for a Christmas party. But it was still the same day that she was moving in, so that's kind of funny, you know what I mean? Because I'm so sure you're going to be moving into your house, and then all of a sudden, you're going to invite people over to have a Christmas party on the day you're moving in. You're moving all your crap in. That doesn't make sense. But, the aliens, they're kind of funny like that. And by the way, I realize now that, see, the aliens knew my grandma died on December 25th. And now I realize, even though they didn't really tell me what day it was, I knew that it was December when I was having the party. Or, when we were having the party in her house. Of course, it's not my grandma's house anymore, it's her house. But I knew it was Christmas time, so I knew it was December. So basically, I think the aliens, they were trying to tell me, hey, you're having this party on December 25th. But when I was in the scenario, I didn't know the exact day or anything, but I knew it was December, I knew it was Christmas, I knew it was winter, but I didn't know necessarily that it was December 25th. But the aliens were trying to copy that because they knew my grandma died on December 25th. Okay, so one of the things, as I was sitting there, like I say, this scenario is kind of hard to explain because, it's kind of boring, but I still wanted to talk about it because there was one cool part in it. So basically, as I was sitting there, I looked over to the right in the long hallway. Actually, I noticed the owner, as she was moving stuff in, like she had people moving stuff in the garage. But as I was sitting there, I was looking around the living room, and she already had, she had things, like she had 2 couches in the exact same spot, exact same angle that my grandma did, and the 2 chairs in the exact same spot. And those were exact replicas in the scenario. But the other couch on the other side of the wall, I can't remember what it looked like. But the other couch on the other side of the wall, where my grandmother had the big, huge picture, it was like an old-time couch. It was shorter than what my grandma had. It was kind of like an older-time couch, and on the sides was like wood. I remember exactly what that couch looked like. But that wasn't, the aliens switched that up. That was an exact replica. But some of those, the 2 chairs, the chair that I sat in, and the other chair to my left, they were light green chairs. Kind of like this color, but lighter. My grandmother had those in real life, and the aliens put that in my scenario, exact replicas. And me and my brother were sitting in both of those chairs. And I can't remember who was sitting on the other couch. Probably my mom and my sister, but in the middle of the floor, and of course, many times in real life, we did go over there on Christmas, and we pretty much just stayed in the living room and opened up presents and all that. So the aliens copied all that from my brain. And so anyway, as I was sitting there, I was looking around to see how she decorated. And I know I'm going to forget some small details. But as I was sitting there, because I was looking around to see how she was decorating. Now, she wasn't done decorating yet, because she was just moving in on that day, on Christmas Day, apparently. So I looked over to the left down the hallway, and my grandmother had a pretty long hallway, and I saw some wallpaper. It was like border wallpaper that she had already put up all along down the edge of the ceiling, the top of the ceiling. But she was only like 80% done. I noticed she wasn't done with that. Okay, another time I looked over there, and it's like she was decorating. She was up walking around decorating the whole time she was having the Christmas party with us. Me, my sister, my mom, my brother, and the husband and the wife and their daughter. But anyway, one other time I looked over there at the hallway, and all of a sudden there were like all these pictures lined up, all these picture frames that she had already nailed to the wall. And I know the aliens copied that from my hallway, because I have all these pictures, in picture frames all along the wall. But that was later, at first when I looked down the hallway, it was the wallpaper I noticed. And then later on in the scenario, I looked down there, and all of a sudden there were all these picture frames. And pictures, they weren't empty, they were pictures. I can't remember what they were of, but they were pictures that she had already nailed to the wall. Okay, so anyway, one part of the scenario too, I looked out at the front. I went outside, and actually, I don't know if I was still in the living room, but it seemed like I was just looking out the window, because I don't ever remember walking out of the door. But I was looking out the window, and at one point in the scenario, I was looking out the window, and I saw the husband, which had the silver white hair. I saw the husband and the wife leaning down, and they were messing around with a flower bed right here. And this is my grandma's house right here. And it was like white. The flower bed was wood, and it was like 3 feet by 3.5 feet. And the walls of the flower bed was like wood, but it was white wood, and it was like 4 or 5 inches tall. And they were messing around with the flower bed, which is kind of funny because this is winter time. You know what I mean? Okay, so anyway, and we had long, drawn-out conversations and stuff. Me and the owner, the owner of the house, but I can't remember. At the end, I remember what she said to me, but I can't remember a lot what we were talking about. But she was very, very friendly, very, very nice, and another part of the scenario, my brother, like I say, was sitting to the left in the small little chair that my grandma had in real life, and I was to the right in the small little chair, and I was opening up presents, and my brother was like looking at me and trying to tell me like, oh no, this is how you open it up. And so I like took the present back and put it on my lap, and it was like, it looked like a box that was about as big as like a small picture frame, and it had like a border of like, it seemed like it had, I don't know, it looked like a picture frame to me, but it was supposed to be a box. And I was trying to tell my brother, I was like, no, this is how you open it. But he was trying to tell me how to open a box. And I was like, no, this is how you open it. Okay, another part of the scenario, like all of a sudden, all these Christmas decorations pop up in the scenario. I looked over to, like, in the corner of my grandma's house in the living room, and there was a Christmas tree and some other decorations. But I can't remember what, the other decorations were, but it was all very, very bright and colorful. And the Christmas tree was all very pretty and everything. At one point in the scenario, my mom and sister had went off into the kitchen, and they were trying to ask me if I wanted cookies. And they're trying to ask my brother, do we want cookies? And I can't really remember what I said, but they went off to give us some cookies. And this part was kind of funny, but at one point, I was sitting there on the chair or whatever, or maybe it seemed like I was leaning down on the floor then, and I was having conversation. Well, she was talking to me more than I was talking to her with the daughter. And the daughter, like I said, I was just like 4 inches from the daughter, and she was looking straight at me. And she seemed, like I said, she seemed kind of LD, kind of retarded. And so she seemed, LD, retarded. She kept staring at me and talking to me, but I can't remember our conversations. But she was really, really nice. And then at one part of the scenario, a little bit later, because not right off the bat, it was after that, a little later, I looked at her, and I looked down, down at her clothing, and she had a smock on. And the funny thing is, all along the smock, she had pockets. And she had all these seasonings in the pockets. Which is kind of funny because in real life, the night before, I had went to the neighborhood market store. And the first thing I did, I saw a big thing of spices. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go look at that bin and look at spices. So the aliens put that in my scenario. Okay, so anyway, I'm trying to remember if I'm forgetting anything else, but I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of the tiny little details, a lot of the decorations and stuff that I saw, and I'm forgetting a lot of the conversations that we talked about, but or some of the things that the daughter was telling me. I know I'm forgetting a lot about that, and I know I'm forgetting a lot what the new owner, the new 70-year-old owner. Oh no, I remember now, but I'm sure there was more that I'm forgetting. But anyway, towards the end of the scenario. Okay, right where those 2 duplicate chairs were that my grandma owned in real life, the aliens put that in my scenario. They were about this color, a little lighter. They were cool little chairs, but I wish somebody would have taken those, but my mom had those hauled off, but they just wouldn't look good in my house. You know what I mean? But they were cool little chairs. I don't know why they didn't sell some of the stuff. They just hauled it off to the Goodwill store or whatever. Okay, so anyway, towards the end of the scenario, I was sitting in that same chair, and in the corner of the couch near me, my grandma had a table in this scenario. In the scenario, there did appear to be the exact table. That's what was funny about the scenario. This same woman, not same woman, this owner of the house now, when she decorated and everything, she put everything in the almost exact same spot that my grandma had all of her stuff. So that was kind of cool and interesting. Except she put more pictures on the wall and stuff, which makes sense because she likes artwork and all that. So anyway, towards the end of the scenario, my grandma pops up. She just appears. My grandma looked about 86 years old. She did not look 92 and a half. She looked about 6 years younger. And she was plain as day. And I was only like 6 inches from her. And I was just thinking the whole time, I wish she would have said something to me, but she didn't. But it was 100% my grandma. And the aliens know that I've been wanting them to do that. Because they placed me in my grandma's house after she died many times, and they never placed my grandma in the scenario. So, so my grandma appeared, and it was 100% her. Except she didn't talk to me or anything, and I can't remember what she had on. But I knew in the scenario, as I was staring at her, I knew that she was dead. I knew that she was just appeared in physical form, to say hello to me. I knew that. you know, I knew that in the scenario that she was still dead and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so anyway, okay, the last part of this, okay, now, right then and there, when I was like looking at her and stuff, I think it started brewing up to where I was starting to get sad, but I don't remember just getting super sad at that point. But, you know, the aliens, they know how to make you really, really, really sad and start crying and stuff in scenarios. Okay, now let me think if I'm forgetting anything else before I say the end of the scenario. But anyway, that was the cool part, is that my grandma, actually, the aliens did actually place my grandma in the scenario. And it was 100% real. It was 100% her. But I don't believe it was her. I don't believe it was her spirit. You know, I don't believe that. The aliens have the ability to do all that. But it was 100% her, except she looked about 6 years younger. So she looked about 86 instead of 92 and a half. Okay, so the end of the scenario, I started walking towards, kind of towards where my grandmother used to have the TV. Over here, her big TV. I know this woman did not have a TV set up yet in her house. But, so the woman was standing up, the new owner was standing up, and so I started proceeding to walk. Oh, I guess the party was over with and I was about to walk out the door, but I don't remember walking out the door. Yeah, because we were telling everybody goodbye, because that's what we always did in real life, too. We would stand there near the door, tell everybody bye. And so the woman, the 70-year-old woman, was standing there, and I was like hugging her and stuff, and she was just like, I'm so sorry about your grandma. And, okay, so in this scenario, I got just super, super, super sad and started bawling and everything. You know, because the aliens, they can make you feel really, really, really sad and stuff. But this woman was so compassionate. The 70-year-old woman was like so compassionate, and she was hugging me, and she was saying all these things, like, I know your grandma was a good woman. Yeah, but like I say, when I first was looking at her, you know, the sadness started to build up, because I wasn't very sad right then and there when I was staring at her. It was 100% her. And like I say, the aliens, they knew I was wanting them to put her in my scenario. But like I say, this woman, oh, like I say, this woman, I mean, that's what I'm saying with these lucid dreams. Now, in this particular scenario, you know, I don't remember actually feeling 100% like, I didn't have the mindset where I literally felt like I was in another dimension, but most of these lucid dreams I do. And, but most of these lucid dreams are like really, really, really long. And like, the funny thing is, that's what I mean about these lucid dreams. The aliens will put no telling who in my scenario. They could put anybody in my scenario, but yet I feel like I have this strong, 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 strong bond with the person, you know, a very strong friendship or whatever. And with this woman, you know, I felt the same way. And it stayed with me for many hours after I woke up. Like, I felt like I really did know her and blah, 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 blah. And she was so nice and sweet in the scenario and everything. The aliens do that a lot. I don't know how they do it. But yeah, the woman was so nice and she was really compassionate. But yeah, that was the end of the scenario. She was just like, that's when I started like getting so sad and bawling and so sad, and she was like hugging me, and she was saying all these things like, I know you miss your grandma and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, the whole scenario is kind of boring, you know, because we just were like, bam, just in the living room the whole time. But the aliens, they know how to duplicate everything like your real life, you know. And that's exactly all the things that we did in real life at my grandma's house. You know, we would get up, stand there for many, many, many minutes saying bye to each other before we'd walk out the door, you know. And that's what I did in this scenario. Like my uncle, like I'd hug my uncle or whatever, my grandma. But yeah, so it'll be kind of cool to see if the new owner